That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, I can tell y'all right now, y'all are not going to like this video. Y'all are not going to enjoy it. Y'all don't want to hear me talk about it, and a lot of y'all are going to have problems with it. So to get out ahead of it, once I say something you don't like, go to the comment section, leave a comment, tell me why I'm wrong. I don't want to hear that I'm just wrong, because if I'm out here laying out my analysis, my explanation behind these takes, I want to hear yours. I want to hear the rebuttal. I really enjoy it, and I read pretty much every single comment there is, so make sure you go down there and tell me why I'm not wrong, not just that I'm wrong. But also, NFL draft is almost here. Guys, go to the Discord, join the Discord. That's where all the Dynasty discussions going to be happening throughout the NFL draft. Maybe I even set up a Zoom call and we can, I don't know, maybe that will just be for Patreon people, but someone brought it to my idea. I think it would be a fantastic idea. Get like 20 people in there. We can just chat while the draft is going on, talk about, oh shit, the Arizona Cardinals actually did take CeeDee Lamb at 8. Oh my God. Hey, what does this do for Kyler Murray's fantasy value? How high does he go? Just stuff like that. Be a lot of fun. I'm also going to be making videos as the draft goes along and posting them regularly. So make sure you leave a like, because I can tell you right now that YouTube's not going to be recommending my videos when I'm doing them that often and putting out that much quantity. So also, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you really enjoy Dynasty Fantasy Football, make sure you subscribe. A lot of great content is coming soon, but let's get into it. And we're going to talk about some overvalued rookie players going into the NFL draft. And first off, we're going to start it off with a running back that I guarantee you, I don't care where he lands, I don't care where he's going in dynasty drafts, I will not own him anywhere, because the player that he's just a poor man version of, I hated last offseason, so why am I going to hate the worst version of the same player this offseason? And this is Zach Moss. I've said it many times before, but Zach Moss is literally just a more unathletic version of David Montgomery. We saw that in the NFL his rookie season, David Montgomery was able to handle a massive workload. But if you come into the NFL and you are a extremely poor athlete at the running back position, you just will not succeed in today's game. It does not happen. And I know we can all point to, the Arian Foster outlier. How long ago was Arian Foster? How many players since then have come into the NFL at the running back position and have lacked any sort of athleticism, been compared to Arian Foster and said, oh, well, Arian Foster did it. Well, yeah, that was Arian Foster. None of these other running backs are him. And I think it's just silly to continue to try to bet and identify these outliers when there are so many safer options that you can go to that have even a higher ceiling than Zach Moss. Because I can tell you right now, if you draft Zach Moss and he hits, at best, you're going to have a mid RB2. That is your best case scenario. Your worst case scenario is Zach Moss goes day 3 of the NFL draft, never gets a shot at a starting opportunity or even a significant role in an NFL offense, and really is phased out of the NFL extremely quickly. Let's get into why. 4.65 40. This puts him in the 31st percentile in 40-yard dashes for the running back position. Now, I already know a lot of people are going to go into the comments right now and say, oh, but he's big. You have to adjust for his size. He runs a slow 40, but he makes up for it with his weight. Yeah, if you adjust for his size, this comes out to a 46th percentile speed score. This is from playerprofiler.com. The website has a lot of things wrong with it. The guy who runs it, not a big fan of, but I love his metric speed score. Pretty much adjust for the size of these running backs and what they run at the NFL Combine or their pro days. And yeah, below par. If you look across the board, running backs with this low of a speed score don't really exist at the NFL level. Josh Jacobs did perform very low in this category last offseason, but Josh Jacobs also tested while he was hurt. I know that some people are going to say, oh, Zach Moss also ran hurt. But the thing with Zach Moss is he came into the NFL, and a lot of people said, hey, watch, this guy's going to be slow. I know a lot of film guys really like Zach Moss. Yes, he can break tackles. Yes, he can make defenders miss in between the tackles. But at the same time, he's not an athlete. So he comes out, runs a slow 40, confirms what everyone is saying. I'm not going to listen to that excuse that Zach Moss was injured at the combine. Are we really going to believe that? Yes, I guarantee you that every single player there was not in their best physical condition. It's a lot different with a player like Laviska Shenault, who was supposed to be an athletic freak, and then he goes in and puts up a complete dud of a performance, and nobody understands why. Yes, if an injury report comes out on him or a similar situation with Josh Jacobs, yes, I'll buy into it. I'll believe it. Same thing with Ronald Jones from a couple years back. But if we already believe an athlete to be subpar and he comes in and proves it, I'm not listening to any excuses. Next, we're going to talk about his age. He played all 4 years at Utah. This is something you'd really do not want to see at the collegiate level, especially with these long-term upside running backs. Really, if you stay there for 4 years and you're not a significant producer, you're not a significant athlete, then your upside is extremely low. All these things that go into a dynasty running back profile, Zach Moss doesn't really have any of them. And right now, I know y'all say, oh, Zach Moss is going late in drafts, but blah, blah, blah. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you look at recent ADP, obviously, y'all know I don't really value ADP that much, but I also see it in real drafts going around. He's going behind guys like Michael Pittman and Brandon Ayuk, and this is just horrible. This is horrible process. Both of these wide receivers Ayuk can be a late day 1 draft pick, and both of them are easily round 2 wide receivers in the NFL draft. And why are you going to pass up on one of these guys for a running back that is most likely never going to have a significant role at the NFL level? And even if he hits his top range outcome, he's going to be a mid RB2. Makes no sense. Horrible process. Zach Moss is someone I will not own any of, and I kind of hope he lands in a kind of interesting spot. That way other people push him up their draft boards, and it will slide guys that I actually want down to me. Now, let's go to the second player. Now, y'all really not going to like this, and I'm actually going to draft this player in a couple leagues this offseason just because the hype on him is so strong, and I believe that just because the hype is there, I would be able to flip him for something really desirable in the situation where he does have a couple flash games, and this is Jalen Reagor. My main problem with Jalen Reagor's evaluation is right now he is going ahead of Justin Jefferson in multiple mock drafts, and this is just silly. And in these mock drafts, I'm not talking about NFL mock drafts because it's almost consensus that Justin Jefferson is going to go ahead of Jalen Reagor in the NFL draft. And if this happens, if we compare these two profiles, Jalen Reagor has a significantly less production than Justin Jefferson does. He has less production in an easier conference. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, LSU had the best offense in the country. Jalen Reagor played on the horrible TCU offense. Hey, maybe Justin Jefferson was a major reason that LSU offense was fantastic. Yes, I know they have Jamar Chase. Yes, I know they had Joe Burrow. Yes, I know they had Joe Brady. They had all the pieces in there, but Justin Jefferson was a significant piece. And if he goes ahead of Jalen Reagor in the NFL draft, he will be as about athletic as Jalen Reagor, and he will have more draft capital than Jalen Reagor, and he will be playing a role in the NFL that is a lot more productive with fantasy points than Jalen Reagor. I believe that Justin Jefferson is going to play primarily in the slot when it comes to the NFL level. And if you don't know, slot wide receivers score a lot of PPR points. They get a lot of targets, especially if Justin Jefferson lands on a team that has a massive hole like the Philadelphia Eagles. That would just be a smash spot. So I think you can make the case for Jalen Reagor being a better NFL wide receiver than Justin Jefferson. You can say, oh, he's going to be a better field stretcher. He's going to be able to take attention from the safeties. But I'm not drafting for an NFL team right now. Newsflash, guys. I'm not an NFL GM, and neither are you. I know all these people on Twitter saying, oh, this is what my team needs to do, blah, blah, blah. Guys, you're not as smart as an NFL GM. I'm sorry, but even Bill O'Brien knows more than what's going on. And it's painful for me to say it, but I promise. And we're just trying to identify what these players are going to be able to do from a fantasy level, and we're going to try to profile them and see how they're going to be used in their offenses and where they're going to excel. And I think this kind of Justin Jefferson versus Jalen Reagor should not even be a conversation when it comes to fantasy. Yes, at the NFL level, I'm fine with whoever an NFL GM decides to go to. I can definitely understand the appeal of Jalen Reagor in that setting, but Justin Jefferson is going to be the wide receiver who scores more fantasy points. Now, let's get into more controversial takes, in my opinion. Next, I'm going to go with a quarterback that we all love. I know there's been a lot of discussion that he's maybe the most talented quarterback in this draft class, and I'm not going to argue with that. Tua Tagovailoa, yes, I know a lot of people have him as their quarterback 1. Most people have them as their quarterback 2. And I'm here to say, are we sure he's in this tier? I see it at this point where I know a lot of people, the conversation is, people understand that Justin Herbert may go ahead of Tua Tagovailoa in the NFL draft. I'm here confidently saying that he will go ahead of Tua in the NFL draft. These reports are they're not fake. I promise you. If you're an NFL team, if you're an NFL GM, I heard Evan Silva say it on a podcast best a couple days ago. These NFL GMs, they're not too concerned about winning a Super Bowl. I know it's sad to say. I know in NFL it's a Super Bowl or bust league and every team should be shooting for the moon. But if you're an NFL GM, you're making just say you're making $3 million a year. I have no idea how much they make, but you're making $3 million a year. You have all the pride that goes into being an NFL GM. You're pretty much making every decision that you can to keep your job. And if you're making every decision you can to keep your job, you're not going to take Tua with every injury concern that he has when you cannot get him in your team facility to see your team doctors to evaluate him. You're really having to go based on what his camp says. You're not going to take that player over a Justin Herbert. And in Dynasty Fantasy Football, I can understand, hey, we're just running Dynasty teams. We're just trying to shoot for upside and get a quarterback that really is going to be able to excel. And I'm confident in saying that Tua is more talented than Justin Herbert. So I can understand wanting to take him ahead if you're willing to take that risk, because it's a lot easier for us to take on that risk than an NFL general manager. But at the same time, Tua goes out there, say he falls to Jacksonville at 9, which is a real possibility. I saw someone on Twitter today saying that the Detroit Lions were going to trade down and some team was going to trade up to get Tua Tagovailoa. Guys, listen closely. That is not happening. There's no chance that happens at this point with everything that we know. Justin Herbert is going to go ahead of Tua in the draft. Pains me to say, and for that, I kind of believe that Justin Herbert should slide into the same tier as Tua Tagovailoa. I know if you look at these mock drafts we're doing for everyone in the Flock Discord chat, really, Justin Herbert is a very end of the first round pick, and Tua is consistently going top 4. I know right now in Superflex leagues there's a tier of, in whatever order you have them, Joe Burrow, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and Tua Tagovailoa. My argument here is that Tua should not be in that category. He should be closer down with J.K. Dobbins. Justin Herbert should be able to slide up in that same range as Tua, especially with Justin Herbert's athleticism. I know nobody really talks about how athletic Justin Herbert is, but he can do special things on the ground. And in an NFL game today where the majority of fantasy points at the quarterback position come from rushing the ball, I'm willing to invest in Justin Herbert if it's at any discount compared to Tua. I think we need to be sliding Tua down and moving Herbert up in our dynasty rankings. Now, lastly, this is going to be what y'all all hate, but I'm going to talk about Jonathan Taylor. And yeah, I fell victim right after the NFL Combine. I put Jonathan Taylor as my RB1, but the further we gone on, the further we've been able to look into the situation, he's down. At this point, I'm not even putting him in the same tier as DeAndre Swift. I know that's crazy to say. Yes, before y'all hate me anymore, I'm going to flat out say Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in the draft. He's the best rusher of the football. He can run between the tackles like better than anyone else. He has the best straight line speed in the draft. He has the size. He has the athleticism. He checks all of those boxes. But in today's NFL, this is not 2005. Jonathan Taylor had 18 fumbles his college career, and he had the highest drop rate of any running back in college. So if we look at these two things, I fully believe that this leads to Jonathan Taylor ultimately having a 0% chance of going in round 1 of the NFL draft, and I believe that he falls to the back half of round 2. And if this happens, I believe that the team is not going to be necessarily locked into giving Jonathan Taylor 3 down work. I think they can view him as, hey, he is a fantastic piece in a committee. He is the best 2 down running back in the NFL. He's up there in a class with Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, but we don't really have that much invested into him. He's not a strong pass catcher. On 3rd and 8, why are we going to have him out there? Why don't we just send out Chris Thompson? So this is what I'm afraid that Jonathan Taylor is going to fall into. I'm afraid that he's never going to really be able to get the receptions at the NFL level, especially if he does not get that team commitment. I'm not too worried about the fumbles leading for him to be benched or anything at the NFL level. I know a lot of people bring that up, but if a team invests that much into you, I don't think they're going to be willing to rip you off the field as soon as you drop the ball, like we saw with Kareem Hunt in his rookie year. If you remember that Thursday night game, I believe it was NFL kickoff, first fumble Kareem Hunt got, first carry Kareem Hunt got was a fumble. And who was out there on the very next drive? Kareem Hunt. And I believe that's going to be a similar situation to Jonathan Taylor, so I'm not too worried that the fumbles keep him off the field, but I am worried that they get him drafted later than a lot of people in the Dynasty community expect. So the ultimate story with Jonathan Taylor is there's no reason for him to be going ahead of Miles Sanders or Josh Jacobs in current Dynasty startup drafts. I don't necessarily see him going ahead of Josh Jacobs that often, but I see him going ahead of Miles Sanders all the time, and there's no reason for that in my opinion. And same thing, I don't think he should be going ahead of DeAndre Swift. I said this in the video that came out this morning. DeAndre Swift, I saw him be drafted in the 4th round of a Dynasty startup the other day, and I saw Jonathan Taylor be taken in the 2nd. There's no reason for that. I understand that Jonathan Taylor is the better running back, but we're looking for this Alvin Kamara, Miles Sanders prototype, and that's the player that I'm going to try to win my Dynasty with. But thanks so much, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Y'all probably didn't, but someone has to say it. Someone has to come out here and really be the buzzkill of the entire party, and that's what I'm going to do. And these are the players that I am lower on than consensus before the draft in 2020. Obviously, after the draft, anything could change. People could overreact, people could underreact, and I don't know. But thanks so much, guys. Really hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great day.